This conference will now be recorded.
Hi, this is Monica Byrne with SWK Technologies. I'm a senior consultant here, and today I'd like to show you what's new in Sage100 version 2020. So in version 2020, Sage has added a bunch of features. Some of them are applicable only to the Sage100C subscription licensing product. If you're unsure as to how you license your Sage100 product, please reach out to your customer account manager here at SWK or the consultant you work with, and we can get you the appropriate information. A bunch of features have been added, especially convenience features to Sage100, and I'll list them right now, and then we'll go through and look at some of those in a little more detail. Sage has now added the ability to enter international addresses for those customers working in other countries. Global enhancements have been added, such as expanded field names, the ability to choose a map service for when you're looking to map your addresses, let's say in customer maintenance. You can now choose the map service, and controlling the ability to export grids, lists, etc. to Excel via security. That'll give you more control as to who has access to your Sage100 information in Excel. We have also added the ability to encrypt customer and vendor personally identifiable information, and this will support the California Consumer Privacy Act. We've added expanded name fields in AR and AP. We've added the ability to reverse an entire accounts payable check run. We can now retain our paid invoices in AP and AR by months rather than days, so we have the ability to retain those invoices for longer if desired. We now have the functionality to store expiration dates related to lot and serial numbers. So if you have lot and serial items in Sage100, we can add expiration dates to those and control those in multiple ways. We have the ability now to recognize work in process in job cost billing. And then another new feature is called e-invoicing, which will allow you to manage your invoices to your customers better and improve your cash flow. So the first thing I want to show you is the international address field. So international address fields have been provided to allow for international addresses to be stored and phone numbers to accommodate those that conduct business outside of the US and Canada. Address fields have been expanded, and you can use country code as a selection criteria. You'll notice that in zip code maintenance, so if I go to Library Master, Setup, zip and postal code maintenance, you'll notice that the first item now is the country code. The country code used to be listed at the bottom. It's been moved above the address lines because the country code is needed to ensure that the correct city and state or province is entered based on the zip or postal code. So when you enter a zip or postal code in Sage100 and it returns the city, state, and country, it'll return the appropriate information. Additionally, a new task has been added called State Province Code Maintenance that you can complete for your applicable countries. And you can put that information into your state province code maintenance. And of course, all of this information can be pulled onto custom reports and used in a variety of ways in Sage100. A bunch of features in Sage100 have been renamed from an abbreviated function so that it's easier for our users to tell what the field is for. So you'll notice I'm going to show this in customer maintenance. If I go to the additional tab, under data entry on the left-hand side, there's an item called default payment type. Default payment type used to be abbreviated DFLT, PYMT type. It's now spelled out default payment type so that users have a better idea of what the field is used for. Additionally, we now have the ability to select the map service you would like to use to map addresses in Sage100. So you'll notice if I go to my change user settings, I have the option to select the map service. The default is MapQuest. I have changed mine to Google Maps, and this is for Sage100C subscription users only. If I go back to customer maintenance and I go to my main tab, I can use my address map button to map that address, and it's now going to use Google Maps because that's the default that I have chosen. Additionally, The ability to export list boxes and grids to Excel is now being controlled by a security event. You'll notice if I go into customer maintenance and I go to my customer list, there's an export to Excel button, the bottom right-hand side. When I click this export to Excel button, it's going to export the information that's in my customer list pretty nicely to Excel immediately. Previously, any user could do this. Now we do have a security feature to control that. So if you go to Library Master, Role Maintenance, I only have one role defined here for myself. But if I go to the Module Options tab and expand Library Master, you'll see there's an option called Allow Export to Excel from Lookups, Grids, and Lists. If I uncheck that and go back to Customer Maintenance, you'll notice that I will no longer have the ability to export to Excel. My Excel button will be grayed out. This allows you to have control over who is exporting any information that you have in Sage100 to Excel. There have been a couple features in Custom Office that have changed. So I want to show you a little bit about those so that you have an idea of what exactly has changed. It allows you now, we are now able to customize the grids. So this is an entry grid. And this entry grid can be customized. So let's say I didn't want to see my warehouse up here. I wanted to see my unit price first. However, I wanted my grid to be controlled. We can now control it for all users. So I can easily, using Custom Office, identify the order of this grid for all users and add other fields in here if necessary for all users, rather than each user having to personalize their own grid. Additionally, a masked data option has been added, allowing you to mask data that you would prefer users not see. So if I go to Accounts Receivable and go to Setup and Division Maintenance, choose my division. Actually, I think it's Accounts Payable I have this set up in. So let's go to Accounts Payable, Setup, Division Maintenance, and choose a division. You'll see that I've masked the description of the division. So for instance, if there's information that I don't want users to see when they're looking through Sage100, I can mask that, and I can do that on string and numeric fields, as well as in user-defined fields. This, however, does not mask the data or encrypt the data in the tables. So if I were running a report, I could see that information if I had access to it, run a report with that information on it. The California Consumer Privacy Act grants California residents new rights regarding personal information. So this allows residents of California the right to request information about a business's collection, sale, and/or disclosure of the consumer's personal information, the right to access personal information collected, the right to deletion of the consumer's personal information, and the right to opt out of the sale of the consumer's personal information. As a result, Sage100 has added various components to preserve the financial integrity of the Sage100 database. You will find the components to comply with CCCA and various tasks in Sage100. In customer maintenance or vendor maintenance, and I'll show you this on the customer side today, but just keep in mind that you can also do this in vendor maintenance. If I go to the additional tab, and actually let me choose a customer that is inactive. So the key to this is the customer or vendor must be inactive. And if I go to the additional tab, you'll see there's a PII encrypted button here now. If I click that PII encrypted button, it will encrypt the information related to the California Consumer Privacy Act that's necessary to be encrypted, such as the customer's name, address, etc. Obviously, the invoices will still remain in history so that your totals and balances all remain the same. So when I click this button, it'll say this process will encrypt the customer's personally identifiable information. The information will no longer appear on reports or be visible in any Sage100 windows. Do you want to continue? So you have the option to continue or not. If you say yes, you'll notice the encryption is taking place. And you'll see there's a personalized PII encrypted date now listed here of 4/7/2020. And up to the right of the customer number, it'll say inactive customer PII values encrypted 4/7/20, the date it was encrypted. You'll notice now, if I accept this and go to my lookup, I'll see that my customer number is still listed here, but I won't see the name, I won't see the postal code, I won't see the phone number any longer. We can unencrypt this information if necessary by changing the customer or vendor back to an active status. You'll get a notification that it will unencrypt the previously encrypted data. We can control who can unencrypt the data via security in Sage100 so that only users you desire to have that ability will be able to unencrypt data. But please note that's not a permanent change in the table, and it can be changed back if necessary or if there were any kind of mistake. I can also make this customer then again inactive without encrypting the data so that I could encrypt it at a later time if desired. Sage has also provided a utility to encrypt the data, and it's in the customer and vendor side under utilities. You'll see this one says encrypt customer PII. I can choose the customer that I want to encrypt. When I do a lookup here, I will only see my inactive customers, or on the vendor side vendors, so that I can choose who I want to encrypt. There's also a keep window open after proceeding checkbox so that I can come back to this window if I have further customers that I need to encrypt. It's important to note that if a customer is linked to a CRM company, that link will be severed. So if you're using Sage CRM and that customer is linked, that will be severed. If you've ever been faced with trying to fit data into a field that is not long enough, this next enhancement is for you. Customer names, customer contact names, vendor names, and vendor contact names have been expanded from 30 to 50 characters in Sage100 2020. This feature is only available for Sage100C subscription users only. So if I go to accounts receivable again, go to customer maintenance, the field that it's referring to on the customer and vendor side would be the customer name field up at the top. And then if I go to my contacts, it'll be my customer contacts name up at the top as well, that have been expanded from 30 to 50 characters. The next feature I'm really excited about. Clients have been asking for this feature forever. Have you ever processed an entire check run with incorrect information and had to reverse each check manually? Takes forever, doesn't it? Sage has now added a new feature to reverse an entire check run via a utility. So you'll notice if I go to accounts payable, scroll down to utilities, there's now a utility called reverse check run. If I click on the reverse check run utility, I have two options as to how to find or select the check run that I need to reverse. You'll notice I can use bank code and check number. So if I put in bank code D, check number 7, you'll notice that it comes up and shows me, of course, check number 7, but all the other checks that were included in this check run as well. It'll tell you at the bottom 7 checks will be reversed so that you can note that those are what you expected. Additionally, I can choose it by source, journal, and register number. So let's say it was on register number 7 that I wanted to reverse. You'll see that it comes up with 3 checks, lets me know that there were 3 checks that were already reversed. So these I had already reversed. So we can't reverse them again now. So I'm going to go back and do the bank code and check number. So we're going to reverse this at this time, and it'll tell us 7 checks will be reversed. I'm going to hit proceed, and you'll notice that it'll bring me directly to a register. I have to put in the correct date. This demo data date is in 2025. And let's view that register. Make it a little larger so you guys can see it. And you'll see that that's an exact reversal of all of the checks that it told me it was going to reverse. Of course, it's going to give me the totals and record that appropriately. My recap by division, and then I'm going to say yes. And I will print the daily transaction register, which is also going to reverse my checks as well, the general ledger posting for that. So when I go, I'll make that a little bigger for you, you'll see that it's giving us a debit to our cash account, credit to our accounts payable accounts. And we will update that through the general ledger as well. The options have changed for the time frame that you can retain paid invoices. So I'm in accounts payable still, and this is available in accounts payable and accounts receivable. And if I go to the setup menu and go to the options, So either accounts payable or options or accounts receivable options. On the additional tab, you'll now see that Open Invoices has months to retain paid invoices, as in this case set as 3. This used to say days to retain paid invoices, and you had only 999 days was the longest you could retain them for. Now you can retain them for 9,999 months if you so choose. Along with that comes another option. When do you want to remove your paid invoices? You can remove paid invoices during period end or year end as you desire. Do you ever issue multiple POs to a vendor and receive all the goods at the same time? Sage has added an option to receive multiple POs on one receipt or invoice. An Apply Purchase Orders button has been added next to the PO number in receipt of goods and receipt of invoice entry. So if I go to expand my purchase order here and go to receipt of goods entry, I'm going to take my next receipt number. I'm going to choose a PO number that I'm going to work with. We'll choose this one, United Containers. You'll notice that next to it, there's a little plus button, green, that's called Apply Purchase Orders. When I click that, it opens the Apply Purchase Orders to Receipt screen. This will list all the purchase orders that are available in our system to be used in conjunction with this purchase order. There are some times when you cannot receive multiple purchase orders for a vendor, and that would be when terms code, the purchase address, the sales tax schedule, or the ship via do not match the original order. So those 4 fields must match the original order in order to be received on the same receipt or invoice. From here, I can select which purchase order I want to apply to this receipt. And then I can also say if I want to receive those complete or not. So if I want to receive them complete, I can check to receive them complete. I can also use this Receive Complete button over here. You'll see it'll mark that automatically for me. Once I say OK, you'll notice that the purchase order number changes to multiple. And if I go to the Lines tab, I do have to distribute these lines. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to distribute that line, and we'll distribute this line as well, the appropriate serial number. Oops. Let's try this again. We have 14 of those there. And we're going to say OK to distribute those. And you'll notice down at the bottom in my secondary grid, which of course can be moved up to my primary grid, I will see the purchase order number that this is related to. So this line is related to purchase order number 10028. This line is related to 10030. So then I can go ahead and process this receipt. I'm going to save those changes and print my daily receipts registers. You'll notice that the receipt registers will show all the appropriate information about the purchase orders that we're receiving under. And then we have multiple purchase orders that we're receiving under. And then it'll ask me if I want to update that. Of course I do. And I want to update my daily transaction register as well. Now, if I would like to go receive the invoice for this purchase order number, you'll notice something else happens as well. So if I go choose the purchase order number that I originally did this under, and I go to put the invoice number in, I'll get this prompt. This purchase order was combined with other purchase orders and receipt of goods entry for receipt number 1014. Do you want to invoice one or more of those other purchase orders? Click yes to view and select the purchase orders to invoice. So then if I want to invoice multiple purchase orders on the same invoice, I can do that as well, or I can invoice them independently. Either way is fine. But I'll get the same thing. I can say, do I want to invoice them complete? I'll choose the purchase orders that I want to invoice complete and go ahead and update this functionality as well. Next, Sage has added the ability to track expiration dates for lot and serial items. So if I go to inventory and I go to inventory management options under the setup menu, on the additional tab, you'll see I have the option to enable lot serial expiration dates. When I enable lot serial expiration dates, I can require an expiration date or not, and I can calculate an expiration date if I choose to by days, months, or years that I would define in the field below it. Or I can say don't calculate, and I can enter the expiration date when I choose. Additionally, I can also calculate a sell-by date based on the expiration date that was either entered or calculated above. So if I'm interested in a sell-by date, which would be available to me when I'm selling an item to let me know if I can sell it by a certain date or if I am beyond the date I should sell it by, I can calculate that here, days, months, years, or don't calc. So that's for sales. I can also do the same thing with issues. Is there a time frame separate from the expiration date that I will issue this on? So whether I want to issue this up to 7 days before the expiration date, or I can use it up to 7 days after, I can define those things in here, as well as returns. These are your defaults for your items. So when you set up an item, it will default to this if there's no other information relating to lot serial expiration for that item. And what I mean by more information is you can also control this via the product line. So you'll see if I go to the product line, there is a lot serial tab here. And under those, and I can set up my options for my lot and serial tracking by the product line. Additionally, I can set it up by the item. So we'll look at 2 items here. And you'll see this one says expiration date not required. We just put that in the text to give us a clue as to what items we're looking at. But you'll notice here, if I go to lot serial expiration under the More tab, it's going to tell me I'm tracking my expiration dates, but it's not required, and I'm not calculating anything. If I go to my item 8984, this is an item I have said that I want to require an expiration date on. And you'll notice that it requires an expiration date. It's not calculating that, so that means that I'll enter it. But it is creating a sell-by date, 6 months before the expiration date is when we would like to sell it by. Let's take a look at some of this, how this works. And I'm going to use transaction entry to show you this. But you can see this, the same functionality works in purchase order, on the purchase order side, on the sales order side, for receipts, for invoicing a customer, etc. So let's go into transaction entry, and we're first going to do a receipt. So we're going to take the next entry number, and on the lines tab, we're going to use our item 8983. And we'll say we received 10 of those in. You'll notice I'm prompted to distribute this lot to a lot number. So I received 10 of them, and I'm going to say my lot number is 10. I'm going to distribute 10 there, and then I can put an expiration date here. I don't have to put an expiration date here. Remember, 8983 was the one that we did not require it on. So I'm just going to say okay to that. Let's also receive item 8984. We're going to receive 25 of those. And when prompted for our lot serial number, I'm going to use lot serial number 10 again. I'm going to distribute 25, and I'm going to try to skip my expiration date field. You'll notice that it'll tell me the lot serial expiration date is required. So I'm going to put an expiration date of this of 4/1/2020. Maybe I got a good deal on this, and it's something I wouldn't normally sell beyond the expiration date, but I'm going to try to blow it out and sell it for a good price to my customers. So you can, Sage does allow you to put an expiration date that has passed. So I'm going to say yes to use that anyway. And I'm going to go ahead and update this receipt. I'm going to go ahead and close that, and we're going to update the transaction register. I'm not going to update the general ledger at this time, just for time's sake. So now let's go in and do another type of transaction. Let's try to do a sale. So I'm going to sell some of those items that we just received in. So I'm going to go in and use my item 8984. And I need to sell 2 of them. And of course, I need to distribute this. So I'm going to show all my lots. So I can use all my show lots button down here so that I can see my lots. And you'll see that I have 9 available in this lot number and 20 available in this lot number. So I'm going to go ahead and say I'm going to distribute 2 from this lot number. I do another one, and we're going to go distribute that. Look at all of our lots here, please. And then I'm going to say I'm going to deliver 1 from this. And let's say the expiration, keep in mind the expiration can be changed. It'll say the sell-by date has passed for the lot number, and you'll notice it's calculating that sell-by date based on our calculations that we told it to calculate with in our options or product line maintenance or item maintenance. Do you want to use it anyway? So just keep in mind that this is a soft stop, but it allows you to track those things such as expiration dates. Expiration dates can be changed or added to inventory after the fact if necessary. So let's say you upgraded to version 2020 and you want to take advantage of the expiration date features. There has been a utility added to change lot and serial expiration dates. So you can use this lot and serial expiration date utility to add those expiration dates to items that already exist. You can also apply it only to tiers with no expiration dates. So you can identify if you've received product in the new functionality and you don't want to change those, you can identify that. Additionally, in item maintenance, you can change those expiration dates there as well. So if we go to the More button and we go to lot serial expiration, oh, sorry, wrong one. We can go in here and change, and you'll notice the expiration dates are in here, and we can change those expiration dates as well. So we can either change it by the item or using the utility to change multiple items. Oh, I should go back to item maintenance. I don't think I identified where you can change that as well as I would have liked to. So let me go back one more time. It's actually on the cost detail tab where you change that. So on the cost detail tab, you can choose one, and there's an option here now called change lot serial expiration date. Under the More button, we can actually look at our lot serial information, and you'll notice that our lot serial transaction inquiry will maintain these expiration dates as well. There are a couple of reports added to inventory to help you manage these lot serial expiration dates. So you'll notice there's a lot and serial expiration status report. And this status report will allow you to do expired dates. You can view it by expired dates. You could print ones that have missing expired dates, whichever you so desire. And you can print that report and review that to help you maintain and make sure that you're maintaining those expiration dates appropriately. Additionally, there is a lot serial transaction history report. And this lot serial transaction history report, you can determine if you want to include expiration dates, print the expiration dates or not. Do you ever wish your customers paid you faster? E-invoicing is a new feature that Sage has added that allows you to manage your cash flow better and encourage your customers to pay you faster. This is turned on a company by company basis. And you'll notice here there's an option under the payment area and company maintenance for e-invoicing payments. E-invoicing allows customers to pay invoices through a new Paya Connect payment portal. This is for the Sage100 C licensing product only, and a Paya merchant account is required. With this, you're given the ability to enable e-invoice payments at the company level. Activating the payment features built into Sage100 along with the connected payment solution provides real-time cash flow visibility, speeds remit times, and simplifies your back office. With this functionality, you can email invoice details, including click-to-pay links, to your customers, so they can just click on a link within the invoice that was emailed and pay that directly. You can accept credit cards, or customers can pay via ACH. You can combine multiple invoice amounts in a single transaction via the customer portal, and you can import payment information into cash receipts with a single click from your Paya portal. That's really neat. Those are a highlight of most of the features that are new in Sage100 version 2020. Please reach out to the consultant or the customer account manager that you work with here at SWK if you have any further questions or if you'd like to see any of the features in further detail. Thanks for listening and have a great day.